We're going to talk today about some misconceptions we have about Theosophy, New Age, and Madame Blavatsky. The internet is filled with morons talking about things they really don't understand. Would you go to a doctor who everything that he's ever learned, he's learned out of one book? No, many of you wouldn't do that. Well, many people do that with religion. There are certain people, well, it's just like natural law. You get an individual who's never been out of one particular region, he's going to most likely have those regions' belief systems. He's going to have a familial system handed down to him from his family. He's going to be a Baptist, a Catholic, a Jew, or what have you, because his forefathers were Baptists, Catholics, or Jews. People don't want to get out of their comfort zone. Well, Blavatsky put a mirror up to that, and she made people think. And when people speak truth to those types of powers, the Catholic Church, the Protestants, the Jews, what have you, it gets a lot of slack. And Blavatsky in her time took the Catholic Church and just shook it to its core. She did not take any prisoners. She spoke truth to power. You know, consequences be damned. Now, on a personal side, Blavatsky, people want to get, well, yeah, she was overweight, she ate too much. Well, so did Buddha. Okay, come on. I don't care if Blavatsky was a charlatan, was a hooker on heroin. I mean, I could care less, because the truth of the matter is she spoke truth. And there's no greater religion than truth. There's no religion greater than truth. So, and let's talk about Blavatsky. She traveled the world for 40 years. She traveled the world in the 1860s, 1890s, roughly that period. Now I'm talking about, she went to the, as what she calls them, the Guatemala Indians, is what we know today as the Mayans. She understood a lot of that knowledge before many others. The Catholic Church had the opportunity to learn that knowledge and to disseminate that knowledge that the Mayans had, but they chose to burn all the goddamn books. Thank you very much. So they're the ones set us back. Well, what she did is she took, that's just a small fragment of the knowledge that she had. She took the knowledge from Plato. Knowledge that Plato had was an initiate's knowledge. He was definitely an initiate. He understood the heliocentric system back when people thought the world was flat. You know what I mean? Now, he had a student, of course, everybody knows Aristotle. Now, Plato loved Aristotle. Aristotle was his boy. Aristotle was his pupil for the future, whatever. But Aristotle was not an initiate. Aristotle did not earn the right to be an initiate. We know that because he did not believe in a heliocentric system. And during that period, those were some of the initiated processes learned through the initiatory process. Anyway, Plato, what he wanted to do, this is what Blavatsky's knowledge came from, is he was trying to make a philosopher king. And he tried his best. Of course, he wasn't able to, but Macedonian king went up to Plato's student later on, several decades later, Aristotle, and asked him if he would train his son, Alexander the Great. And he did the best of his abilities, but the problem with that was that Alexander really did not have the initiate's knowledge. He did not learn natural law to an extent that would have helped guide him through a process of communicable alchemy, a golden age type of thing. He didn't have that. He was a rape and pillage kind of guy, you know. Anyway, moving along. Now Blavatsky, she knew that, and she actually sets that out in Secret Doctrine. Now the word secret, she couldn't use the word occult because people would freak out, and but that's what it is. It's the occult doctrine is what it is. The word occult means secret or hidden knowledge. You couldn't do that because the Catholic Church had bastardized the word occult so bad that you just had to use the word secret knowledge or hidden knowledge. Couldn't do it. It's like the crazy Nazis with the swastika. They took the swastika from ancient Indra, which is India, and turned it backwards and bastardized that sign to you can't even go there now. You know, it represented the crazy Nazis. Every time somebody sees a sign, you try to explain, well, it's actually much older than that. The American Indians have the same swastika, but it's the correct way around, and it means the same thing as the Indras did in India, but you can't even go there. No, it's really lost knowledge because when you bring it up, somebody's gonna think you're a nutty, kooky, racist freak. So it's not worth it. Blavatsky talked about this new age, the Aquarian Age, to come, and this is the age that's going to, I guess you could say, separate the wheat and the chaff. Blavatsky, she talks about, now this was, the Secret Doctrine was written, oh man, I cannot even remember when this thing was written. It was written in the bear with me just a second, oh wow. I mean, the stuff that she was writing about, people were probably going, no way is the earth going to heat up. What are you talking about? 1888, Secret Doctrine. Before that, there's another classic she wrote, Isis Revealed. We're talking classics. People, they should be made to read this stuff. Think outside the box. If you're the same religion as your parents, or the same religion as people in your city, county, state, region, country, whatever, you know, it'll help you with this introspective travel of yourself and go, wow, you know, I never thought of it like that. The manipulations were incredible. Do you know that the Catholics, the Roman Catholic Church, they were killing people for believing in reincarnation within villages throughout their known world, their known world was the world that they had conquered, by the way. They were killing people for believing in reincarnation up until the 1500s. Now it's incredible what they did to the early Gnostics. They took all that Gnostic knowledge. The early Gnostics were early Christian Gnostics, is what they were. And they took and they burned everything, burned the books. And if you could bring the book to the square. You brought the book to the square. Now, it depended on who the asshole was rounding up the books, but for the most part, they would bring the book to the square. However, if they had to come to people's houses and find the books, when they found the book, they would take you with it and set your ass on fire too. You know, that's how much this knowledge threatened the Catholic Church. When you talk about reincarnation to the Catholic Church, they freak out because they want one and done. That's it. They want one life. That's why you see anti-abortion. No, it's only one life. That's it. You got no second chances. So you bow down and you get to through heaven through us. You get to heaven through us. And that's how it is. And the Protestants, all they're doing is they're learning out of the same book. They just have different interpretations. It's the same thing. It's incredible. Anyway, Blavatsky, she started the Theosophy. And Theosophy, of course, comes from the Neoplatonist, which Theosophy was Theo is God, and Sophia is knowledge, God knowledge. All right, this is when there wasn't even a word, maybe Makara that came through Indra over there, but for hidden knowledge, because you didn't have to hide knowledge. All right, it was open knowledge only to those. Let me step back a minute. In Athens, Greece, anyone could take the sacrament, as it were. Do you know how the Catholics get, on Sunday, this is my body and this is my blood and all that? Well, back in the day, during Plato's time, it was like a carnival going out to the wilderness. I think it was the Delphi, if I'm not mistaken, one of those. And they would go out there, and there would be thousands of people being able to get a higher knowledge through what they would say in the Vedic Soma. It really didn't matter. It was mushrooms or whatever it was, but they had to get out of their animal bodies into their higher self, and they were brought there through this process and up to this higher knowledge through this priest. And it was a Greek hierophant, basically, is what it was. And anyway, you could be a slave and still you had that God-given right. They considered it. That's where we get our God-given rights from Greece. That lineage, same thing. And anyway, they would go out there and it was like a carnival atmosphere. But when they got all this higher knowledge that they understood, wow, natural law, wow, the things I learned. So then on the way back, it was just total quiet. Everybody was introspective. This is the knowledge that Blavatsky was talking about. Blavatsky was one of the most learned people I've ever read in my life. I've read hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other philosophers, from Carl Jung to all of the Greek philosophers, all the Vedics, Rig Veda, Kabbalah, you name it. Let me tell you something. Blavatsky puts all of that together. What is his name? Algrio? Anyway, he wrote that book, The Golden Thread. This knowledge that she had was the golden thread, theosophy, of all of that knowledge that runs through all of that literature. Incredible stuff. Just incredible. Anyway, when you hear people talking about she's a devil worshiper, she didn't even believe in the devil. She didn't believe in the devil, and now she's a devil worshiper. For heaven's sakes. There's positives and negatives. There's good and bad, and most things are gray, in the gray zone. We talked about earlier polarity. That's what it is, you know, the light, darkness. You wouldn't know darkness if it wasn't for light. We know now that physicists will tell you light comes from darkness. Darkness doesn't come from light. You have to have a movement within atoms, and the faster the movement you go, and at some point you'll have an atomic nuclear reaction that will turn the light on planets which were formerly not on. So light comes from darkness, and they'll say, talking about the god of darkness, Satan, and I, come on, you know. Anyway, this is the time. We're at the cusp of the new age, and it's not some fruity new age. It's this old knowledge that has been passed down that Blavatsky writes about. This knowledge, this is the knowledge of the new age. Okay, it's more introspective. It's more on a yes, it's on a macro level, but a lot of this is working on oneself. The water bringer in the water, which is the Aquarian Age, the water bringer, water always stood. It didn't matter if you were talking about the Rig Veda. It didn't matter whether you were talking about in the Kabbalah, in the Bible. It doesn't matter in what literature you found this. It is Zoroastrian, for that matter. Always, it always stood for spirit. All right, this is the spirit bringer age, if you will. And this age is going to separate the wheat from the chaff, the good from the bad, I guess you could say, and it's going to people who covet material things. They love their cars, they love their this or that or what have you. Well, they're gonna rue the day they did because they're going to have to accept this parting of the ways. And people are going, well, what do you mean new age? Everything's going like it's always been going, you know. What are these minds talking about, you know? Well, look, this could be a 300-year process here, but it's obviously changing. Well, just look in America. Housing's changing. There's people who can't afford the loans they have, and there's also people who maybe can't afford it, but their house is upside down. They owe more than the house is worth. All right, that's just one thing. The tax situation, there's going to be more equitable taxes. I don't mind paying more taxes. The 1% are going to pay more taxes. That's just the way it is. And we're going to take care of people. You know, a true master was Jesus. He always talked about the poor. Hey man, they're always going to be with you, but we need to take care of them. You know, when I came to your door, did you not feed me? You know, blah blah blah. Well, that's what this age, this new age, as they talk about, new agers, I guess you could say, this is what's happening right now, and it's just a process, you know. Now this process could happen within a 36-month period, what have you, but look at natural law. Not many things happen in nature overnight. All right, how some things do. Some things do. We know when a calf is about to be dropped, the calf will drop down in the cow's belly a little bit, and her hips will show. Well, that's what's happening right now. The hips are showing. We're about to go into labor, and the labor pains are going to start off slow like now, and they're going to become closer together and sharper, harder, and a lot of people won't be able to deal with it, quite honestly. Be people jumping out the windows, as I said earlier. You know, oh no, my flat screen TVs, you know, well, they have their priorities wrong, you know. When you live like hell and you wonder how you got there, you know, you made your own hell. You're your own devil, all right? What this is all about is to boil it all down into an alchemical way. We are all in God's school. We are in the lowest material plane there is, where you can actually feel pain with an animal body. That's where we're at, and we're in God's school. And now you can be part of the sheeple, and you can go along in this God school until the cows come home. We're talking 40 lifetimes from now. But if you don't change, you don't look out for who you are, your Makara, inside, your man, it's not going to change. Nothing bad. I mean, it's just lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Something's going to change eventually. This is an opportunity for a lot of people to change. What makes a diamond, we know in natural law, is a lot of pressure, heat, and it starts out with a coal, C-O-A-L, and we know that pressure and heat will make that, but it can also make a fucking rock. So try to make your process, the end process, a diamond, and instead of a rock. Anyway, check out old Blavatsky. Wow, she got it going on. And look out for these signs that are coming, that are hitting. Blavatsky even writes about, which I thought was incredible, talks about in the end of the Pisces age, the fish, Jesus was the fish, that age, is going to be the Aquarian Age. And she says during that process the earth will heat up, and which I find is crazy. How in the world did she know that all this was coming about? It's from this old knowledge that circumvents the globe. It runs through all the old, ancient, hidden knowledge, which is really cool for me, for a history buff. For somebody like me, you know, it's very easy to recognize truth. You know, you can separate the truth from bullshit pretty easy after you read Blavatsky. Anyway, all right. Well, that's it for today, sports fans. Check me out later on, and I'll get back with you on something on my mind.